Let's get it. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, y'all. AP poll is back. Let's get into week 12, the nitty gritty. All right, starting at number 25, we got USF. The Bulls are back in it. Their conference, the American Conference, is so crazy right now. Like, we'll talk about Notre Dame here in a second, but they got pummeled. Obviously, Navy did by Notre Dame. Memphis just lost to Tulane. Like, their conference is so interesting. Who's going to get that group of 5 spot? Like, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? There's so many good teams in that conference, and it feels almost unfair to see only one team, but it is chaos in that conference. But USF, obviously, is a team in that fold. They got a big win, obviously, over UTSA. Whooped them on, obviously, Thursday night. A lot ahead of them. One of the best teams in the group of 5. It's going to be interesting to say the least, man. Memphis really hurt themselves this past weekend, obviously losing to Tulane, man. But we're going to see what happens there. James Madison, obviously a team that a lot of people are saying they deserve more respect. 8-1 on the year. They do a really good job of obviously passing the football, pretty good defense, one of the best teams in the Sun Belt Conference. They've been doing their thing all year long. And James Madison, good to see them get some respect. Now, it's going to be interesting to see when the CFP playoff poll comes out on Tuesday where they're going to be ranked at. But I think this is the first time I've seen them in the poll all year long. All right, next you got Pitt, and I humbly agree that they should be obviously ranked. They was ranked number 24. In the college football playoff poll, first time they was ranked in that poll this year. But really good team, and we're going to find out a lot about Pittsburgh over these next few weeks, man. They have a gauntlet of a schedule, right? We'll talk about it here in a second. But Notre Dame, how do you do that? That's a big game. That game should be televised. I think NBC is going to get that one. But really big game. Mason Heistel, we know how good he is. Desmond Reed, really outstanding linebackers on the defensive side of the ball. That is a big game for them. And they can do a lot for their stock and get into a CFP playoff if they can beat Notre Dame. That is massive. And they can knock Notre Dame out of the CFP as well. Massive game coming up for Pittsburgh. Cincinnati, I told y'all, I still don't feel like they should be ranked this high. They got whooped a few weeks ago, obviously, to Utah. Don't deserve to be number 22 in the country. In my opinion, it is just one game. But when you get pummeled like that with 2 losses, no. I'm just going to say no. They should not be number 22 in the country. I like Brendan Sorsby. I like the weapons they got on the outside, but I don't think they should be ranked after that pummeling they had against Utah. Humbly speaking, it was like 45-7. No. Tennessee, same thing. No disrespect to Tennessee fans, love of all fans, but 3 losses on the year. Playoff hopes are all but done. But they somehow ranked number 21 in the AP poll, and they were obviously ranked number 25, I believe it was, in the CFP playoff poll. You know what I'm saying? But we'll see how Tennessee finishes the year. They got to have Vanderbilt continue to win games if they're going to have any chance in hell. I don't think they do, with what the schedule they have coming up. But Kentucky did just beat Florida 38-7. I believe they have Kentucky on the docket as well. We'll see with the Vols. Great offense. Defense just hasn't been able to come up to snuff all year. Then you got the Cavaliers, man. Tough, ugly loss to Wake Forest at home. But they lost their quarterback. They lost Chandler Morris. Like, what else can you do there? That's tough to kind of come back from, right? End up getting a brutal hit to the head, out for the rest of the game. Shout out to Daniel Raikkonen. He did what he was supposed to do in that game. He threw for over, I think, 180-something yards. Didn't turn over the football, but what hurt them is the turnovers and fumble loss, right? 3 total turnovers in this game, but they defense is for real, y'all. Say what you want, but Virginia only allowed 6 points off of 3 turnovers in that game. That is getting it done. That is how you play. That's how you ball. And they also had a punt block in the game. You just can't give up that special teams lapse from Carlos Hernandez on the 88-yard punt return for a touchdown. They didn't score a touchdown all game long. So defense did what they were supposed to do. Offense has to come up to snuff. Now, Louisville, ugly loss. I think 19 is too high for them. I'm going to be full, honest, respectful. I don't think Louisville, after losing at home to California, a team that did not have a good defense, there's no way in hell Louisville should have lost that game. Louisville should not be ranked number 19. I like the ACC, but there's no way in hell Louisville should be a top-ranked team in the country after that loss. No disrespect. It was a close loss. Say what you want, walk off. You're supposed to defend and handle your turf. You got 2 losses. They should be ranked lower, in my opinion. We know about, obviously, Michigan, man, that outstanding defense. We know about Bryce Underwood continue to take steps forward. We will see some big games coming up. And I think for Michigan, handle your business the rest of the year. If you hand Ohio State their first loss of the year, I think you're in. Say what you want. 2 losses. If they go and beat Ohio State, number 1 team in the country, which likely they're going to stay in that spot, I think you make the CFP. That's just me. USC, man, continue to do the things that they're supposed to do, man. They got some big games coming up. I think they play Oregon here in the next couple of weeks. That's going to be a really big game coming up for both of those teams. For USC, if you want to have a chance to make a CFP playoff, I think for the first time in your history, beating an Oregon team with 2 losses or handing them their second loss would be massive for you. We know about Jaden Mayava, Makai Lemon, Jacoby Lane. Defense is okay, a little suspect. They give up a lot on the ground, but overall, pretty good team. Now, Miami, I love to see my Hurricanes at number 16. I think we have an outside chance of getting into the CFP playoff. Only 2 losses. We got to handle our business. We need Pittsburgh to be ranked by the time we play them. That's just the reality of the situation. Now, with 3 losses, I don't know. They got to play Georgia Tech. They got to play Notre Dame. The likelihood of them having only 2 losses is very slim. But for my Hurricanes, just off of the branding alone, I know what y'all going to say. It's the most deserving, but I'm telling y'all, off of the branding and the views and the ratings that the Hurricanes can get, I think Miami has an outside chance to get into the CFP. Now, we know about Utah and obviously Devon Dampier finish the season strong. We in November now. Only a couple games left in the regular season before we end this thing. Continue to handle your business. But a really good team all year, man. They've went through it, had some key losses, but it's going to be a team to watch out for. They could be dangerous in the Big 12. All right, next up, obviously, Georgia Tech at number 14. I think it's a little too low. Now, they moved to 3 spots. They were number 17 last week, number 14 this week. Georgia Tech should be a top 12 team. Humbly speaking, they should be. The reason I said I know they lost to NC State, but you got a 2-loss Vanderbilt team above them. Vanderbilt just nearly lost at home against Auburn. Their defense gave up so many yards, and Cam Coleman cooked them all night long. Like, you know what I'm saying? They have 2 losses. I think they're going to have another one before it's said and done. I think Vanderbilt's going to just eliminate themselves by virtue of just their schedule. And they have played some tough teams, don't get me wrong, but they should not be ranked above Georgia Tech. Now, Georgia Tech, like I said, they had a bye week. They only have 1 loss all year. It was to NC State by 12. It ain't like them boys got whooped. Georgia Tech has a Heisman candidate as well, along, I guess you could say, with Pavia and Haynes King. This offense is top 10. You know what I'm saying? The total yards. They're top 20 scoring offense. Georgia Tech's legit. I think 14 is a little disrespectful. No disrespect to BYU either. I like Brett Bachmeier. I like their offense. I like how the team plays. But that's an ugly loss yesterday to Texas Tech. 29-7. Got whooped. Up and down. Just making mental errors all day. Just seemed like the spotlight was too bright in that one for me. For them. But I think Tech should be number 12 spot. You rearrange Vanderbilt, BYU how you want. That's just my personal take. Oklahoma, big games coming up, man. We'll see if they can survive. I think this week, actually, they play Alabama, if I'm not mistaken. That's a massive game. Because if you're Oklahoma, like, that's your season. Your season's on the line when you play Alabama this week. Can you handle business? You know, we see what you did last year, obviously, to Jalen Milroe. Can you handle business on the road against Alabama? That's going to be a pretty big test for them. We'll see what happens. Texas, I told you about them Texas boys. They back. They are back. Arch Manning not playing, I'm telling y'all. Texas, I got them this week against Georgia, bro. Say what you want. I might be wrong. I might be stupid. Say what you want. I like Arch. I like Texas. I think they're going to give Georgia a run for their money. And I think they're going to come out on top and beat the Bulldogs. I'm going with Arch, man. Coming off the bye week, them boys going to be ready. Watch. Notre Dame, pummeled Navy. Made them boys look like, hey, why y'all on the same field with us? Jeremiah Love, another outstanding game yet again. He needs to be in that Heisman conversation as well for me. One of the best backs in the country. What else you want to say? A redshirt freshman quarterback in C.J. Carr. A decent to good defense, but not as good as it was last year. He deserves to be in the Heisman conversation. Put some respect on his name. Another player that deserves on that list too, Jacob Rodriguez, defensive linebacker for Texas Tech. Doesn't get enough love, man. Get that man some more love and put some more shine on him, man. He deserves to be on there. We know about all the pieces they got, Romello Height, Bailey. That defense is for real. You've seen it against BYU. They couldn't do not a darn thing. They are serious. Look the hell out for Texas Tech. Oregon survived against, obviously, Iowa. Not the best game. Didn't have Decorian Moore in this one. Dante Moore was able to do enough and lead the Ducks to a victory, man. That's what November's about. It ain't going to be pretty, but coming out with a victory is all that matters at the end of the day. The W's in the win column. That's what you want to see, man. But Oregon, big matchup coming up in a few weeks against USC. That's going to tell us a lot about both those teams and getting into the CFP playoff for sure. Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambers, they ran all over Citadel, 49 points. QB1, he had 3 touchdowns in that game. They had no answer for them boys. They are the truth. Georgia, how about them Bulldogs, man? They went roughshod on Mississippi State. And I was like, you know what? I wanted to go upset, but I was like, Mississippi State ain't ready for that. Nah. It's going to be this week with Texas going over there to beat them. But shout out to Georgia. Shout out to Gunnar Stockton. Big game for him. Zachariah Branch balled. You know what I'm saying? And them boys did what they were supposed to do, man. Bulldogs going to be a tough team to beat. Bama, 20-9 victory over LSU. You handle business at home. You did what you're supposed to do. Ty Simpson remains firm in that Heisman conversation. The Aggies, how about what they did to Missouri? Missouri is done. It's over with. That is how you handle your business, man. There's no questions about Texas A&M at all to me. Marcel Reed and them boys is the real deal, Holyfield, and they have a legit shot this year to be a national champion, period. Indiana, man, had to pull one out of your hat. They said Fernando Mendoza had a Heisman moment, one of the best calls ever from some people, from Gus Johnson. Shout out to you for obviously that great throw and winning that ball game. OU, or Ohio State, is Ohio State. I don't know how you're going to beat them boys. Jeremiah Smith, they are the truth.